You are dealing with subcontractors on daily basis in the project because the majority of the project packages are subcontract packages. And that's why it is very important to understand the subcontract agreement, which defines the relationship between the main contractor and the subcontractor. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the subcontract agreement and what are the 11 very important clause headings that you can find in any subcontract agreement. And we're starting right now. So first of all, what is a subcontract agreement? This is an agreement between a main contractor with a subcontractor to execute part of the works. And if you don't know the difference between the main contractor and the subcontractor, I've made a complete video comparing these two to each other, and you can find the link to that video in the description down below. But for the time being, let's assume that we know who is the main contractor and who is the subcontractor. The subcontract agreement will start with definitions. We need to define everything in the contract. So when we say a main contractor, what do we mean by a main contractor? And when we say a subcontractor, who is the subcontractor? When we say the works, what are the works? Which works are we talking about? When we say the consultant, when we say the client, all these terminologies should be defined in the first page of the contract so that anyone reading the contract, when he sees any of these names, he can understand what exactly are we talking about, and everything will be very well understood. After that, you will have something that is called the preamble. And the preamble is just like a narrative. A narrative like what? Like a story. Like, for example, a main contractor had a project with so-and-so client, and because of that, this main contractor want to subcontract part of the works, which is this one, to this so-and-so company. So it's a narrative that tells you who is the main contractor, who is the subcontractor, what are the works that we are talking about, and these works are coming for which project, and this project belongs to which client, things like this. After that, you will have what we call the clause headings. And these clause headings will be starting with the first sub-clause, which is general conditions. And under the general conditions, you can have things like components of the subcontract agreement, and the contract price, and the contract type as well, and the taxes, how do we deal with the taxes, and the acceptance of work, how the works will be handed over and how they will be accepted. Because the works that will be made under a subcontract agreement, these works will be executed by a subcontractor. So for example, the main contractor need to accept these works, and the project consultant also need to accept these works, and the client of the project need also to accept these works. So acceptance will come under the general conditions, and it should be there in the contract. The clause heading number 2 is the scope of work. And under this clause, we can say that the scope of work consists of what? For example, specifications and the drawings and the BOQ, and all these things will define the scope. And we can also have something that is called annexure A or annexure 1, for example, that defines the scope of work, and we can have this annexure attached to the contract in the end, and we can detail the scope of work, everything that is required by this subcontractor to be made in the project. We can have all of this listed under the annexure, but under the clause heading in the contract itself, we can say that there will be one annexure that is called annexure A, and this is the scope of work, and all the details are there in this annexure. So this one will define the scope very well. Clause heading number 3 will be the subcontract documents. And actually we talked about the drawings and the BOQ and the specifications and all in the clause heading number 2, which is the scope of work. But in clause heading number 3, which is the contract documents, there we can define the priority of the documents and which document has a higher priority than another document. And all of this can come under the subcontract documents. We can say that the documents are the specifications, the drawings, the BOQ, the conditions of contract, and this will be the priority, and all of this will be there. Clause heading number 4, commencement, time for completion, and delay damages. And under this clause, we can define these things. What do we mean by a commencement date, and when the works will commence, and what is the duration or what is the time for completion, and what if the subcontractor didn't hand over the works in the time, so what will be the delay penalties and all of this. Clause heading number 5 is the variations, and under this clause heading we can have some articles that talks about how a variation can happen and when the subcontractor can proceed with the variation. He needs, for example, to receive direct instructions written from the main contractor to do this additional work or to change something in the contract. So this is how we'll be dealing with the variations or how we will accept this variation. And also the variations should be justifiable, and the subcontractor in case of variation has to submit all the documents that substantiates the new pricing and all of this. And also you can have something that says that all the prices in the contract will remain fixed until the end of the duration or until the completion of the works. And you can have also an article talks about the rates that they should be fixed throughout the project duration and they cannot change, and changing the rate is not considered a variation. So such thing can come under this clause heading. Clause heading number 6, payments and bonds. And here you can have, or you can define how the money will be paid, what are the terms of payment, and what are the bonds required. For example, advance payment security and the performance bonds, and these things can come under the payments and bonds. Clause heading number 7, subcontractor resources, insurance, and indemnity. And under this subclause, you can define things that are related to the workmanship insurance of the subcontractor and how he will be insuring his works and how he is responsible for any damages or anything that happens in his works. So these things can come under this subclause. Then subclause number 8, which is health and safety, and this subclause will define how to deal with the health and safety in the project and what is the responsibility of the main contractor and the subcontractor in terms of safety of the work environment and such things. Clause heading number 9, which is the termination, and actually this is one of the very important clause headings in any agreement because it states how termination can happen. In case of, for example, default of subcontractor, then the main contractor can terminate this contract and kick this subcontractor out. And there is something called termination at convenience, which means that the main contractor at any point and without any reason can terminate the subcontractor from the work. And in such case, what is the entitlement of the subcontractor for payment? Can he, for example, claim for loss of profit, or no, only he can claim for the works that he executed? So these things will come under the termination clause heading. Clause heading number 10 will be the warranty, and this simply displays how the subcontractor will be giving a warranty or a guarantee for the works that he has executed, and what is the time duration for this warranty, and what is the type of the warranty, and all of that. Clause heading number 11 will be the governing law and the dispute resolution mechanism. And this is very important because you will be defining under which law this agreement is being executed, and in case of dispute, what are the mechanisms to be done? Do we sit? Do we mediate? Do we go for arbitration? Do we go for the court? So things like that can come under the governing law and dispute resolution clause heading in the subcontract agreement. After this, you will have the annexures that we talked about. For example, annexure A can be the scope of work. Then you can have annexure B, which is the BOQ. Then you can have annexure C, which is the program of work. D, for example, is specifications. F will be the drawings, and 1 for the responsibility matrix, who will provide the electricity, who will provide the scaffolding. And these annexures will be referred to in the clause headings that we talked about. Wherever necessary, in any clause heading, if they need to refer to one of the annexures, it will be there, referred to. So you can read all these clause headings and the articles under the clause headings in accordance with the annexures that you have attached in the contract itself. So everything, the conditions of contract and the annexures and all these documents, all of that, they will make the subcontract agreement. And by the way, the concept that we explained here, it is not only for the subcontract agreement, it's for any agreement. And this is the video that I told you about where I compared the main contractor to a subcontractor. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel and join also the channel memberships. And I'll see you in the next video.